right. Today on the program, I have a very interesting gentleman. How's it going, Vandross?
It's going great, man. It's going great. Happy to be on, man.
So, you have a very interesting story. You are now talking to me from Bulgaria. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yes.
So, why don't you tell me about your journey from that you've been on for the past few years?
Yeah, I guess I could start from when I started, everything from leaving the United States. I left when I was 19, joined the United States Army, and I served in the military for 4 years, did a tour in Afghanistan in Operation Enduring Freedom. And then I got out, went to Germany, studying international business, learned some German while I was in Germany. And I traveled around the world for approximately 10 years without social media. And I'm just now back on the internet to scale my personal brand. And in the meantime, also when I graduated Germany too, as well, I was writing a book called Hey Bro, I'm Just Trolling. And the book tackled different societal constructs and different angles and viewpoints that I thought people may not be looking at. And so I thought it was very, very interesting to bring a new outlook on the literary art space. And I don't really call myself an author. I call myself an author because I consider the book arts mixed with literature. And it's very provocative and very nuanced way of writing. I'm trying to break the barriers and change the way people write books or how books can be written in this new digital age. And I also minted that book as an NFT on the Polygon blockchain and became one of the first 100 authors to do so on the Polygon blockchain as well. And in between that, I also was investing in the stock market. Then I switched over to crypto and started a blockchain consulting firm where I help people structure their portfolio. At first, I was selling courses and I was giving people access to venture capital groups. And then, people wanted more one-on-ones with me. And then I created a research group as well in the midst of that. So I was funding people through the research group, also giving them access to venture capitalists and networking different venture capitalists in multiple different venture capital groups as well. And now currently I'm starting, well, I have two separate startups that I'm working on. One of them I'm not the CEO of. I'm just a large shareholder within the company, and it's a B2B logistics blockchain solution for documentation and storage. And so it sort of tries to streamline the processes for businesses for documentation. There's a lot of issues in regards to bringing 6 or 7 different documents and trying to transfer different documents through the customs, through the point of origin to the destination, and et cetera. And so this sort of streamlines the process and encrypts it on chain. So there's no point of failure and no way that the documents can be forged. And there's another project I'm working on too as well, which just got a small pre-seed investment from Block Doja, and it's called Listenable, and it's a NFT and AI platform for audiobooks and podcasts. So the goal is to basically take podcasts or audiobooks and be able to seamlessly transfer them into ebooks and vice versa, and also be able to create a marketplace for people to be able to trade on there and be able to be entitled to their royalties and intellectual property and be paid properly, and also have access to data, the proper sets of data and engagement too as well. So
Wow,
yeah,
that's a lot on your plate.
yeah.
Well, can you share a story about one of your projects or a client of yours that particularly inspired you, and what lessons you learned from that experience?
Yeah, building out the online course that I did for blockchain investing, I learned a lot along the way. Got a lot of feedback in regards to what exactly clients needed and where they were at, in particular in regards to their point of starting, or their intermediary and stuff. And I was able to get feedback, get critiques in regards to, okay, what can I add? How can I add more value here, or what can I subtract? How can I streamline the process, make it more easier for people to understand the technology and the problem that it's actually solving and why it's significant? And yeah, how can I build the best sort of boot camp it kind of was in a sense, or course that could help investors make money and make profit and learn a skill, of how to navigate through DeFi and mining and staking and all these different types of things. So yeah, it's super important for me to add as much value as possible because in this space there's a lot of The issue with this space, I think, mainly is the people that are just trying to make a quick buck and are scammers. Um, and so it's something that really, really annoyed me, especially during last bull run. And so that's why I started. That was the main reason why I started a blockchain consulting firm because I wanted to sort of guide people. And I was doing B2C, but I shipped over to B2B. So now I'm the head of board of directors of Fast Track IP. So I help oversee and advise them too as well, and help with marketing and things of this nature to sort of help them as they sort of navigate through this Web3 space to connect them to VCs. You know, like I told you, I'm in multiple different VCs and stuff. So yeah, it's been a long journey, and through feedback and through trial and error, I've been able to get this far, and I feel like it's just the beginning. You know, it's
Yeah,
yeah, I'm having a blast. Honestly, gonna be in London in January, and to build out the MVP for Listenable, and I'm super stoked.
I love the name Listenable. I'm surprised that hasn't been snatched up already. That's an awesome name.
I appreciate that, man.
And so you were one of the first 100 authors to mint your book as an NFT in a Polygon blockchain. What inspired you to take this step? And then, if you could, how do you see the NFTs in the publishing industry?
Oh man, this is a great question. So what inspired me was, I was dabbling with NFTs during the previous bull run, and I saw what NFTs could be. Like people were looking at them as just JPEGs, but I saw the actual utility of them, of digital ownership, of transfer of digital assets and IP and things of this nature, and encrypting it on chain and showing proof of that, and also how that could be leveraged for the music industry. I saw how could that be leveraged for real estate, fractionalized NFTs. Imagine because of the prices, the asset appreciation is so high for real estate for our generation specifically. Like when I say our, I mean millennials, and Gen Z, and that well, the assets aren't actually appreciating. What's actually happening is the dollar is actually depreciating in purchasing power. But the point is the dollar amount is increasing, and so a way for people to be able to still invest in real estate is to fractionalize uh, the real estate itself. And so, say for instance, you have a 500K real estate property. Imagine if people, they can't do the down payment. Let's say it's 10%. They don't have 50K to do a 10% down payment. But what if they could fractionalize it and split it into five? And now you have, okay, 100K, 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 100K. And now the down payment is 10% is now 10K. And you fractionalize it in the form of NFTs and showcase that through on chain where it's encrypted, and also you streamline the process for, okay, now there's profit. Imagine if now you open up the liquidity to global access, right? Because now anyone can partake in it because anyone can get access to ETH, but not everyone in the world can get access to US dollars, right? And so by doing that, now you've opened up the market to a global landscape and anyone can partake. And also it's seamless to then trade if you don't want that asset anymore on marketplace, you know? And so it makes the process more easier, streamlined, and gives more people access to these financial instruments that they didn't previously have. And also I look at it from the aspect of renovation of business models, right? And you can add these sort of tokenization models. I'll give you an example too as well. Like if you look at YouTube, right? When you look at YouTube, um, say for instance, I have 100K subscribers on YouTube, and I want to scale to 1 million, and it's just going too slow. What I could do is introduce a rev share model, leveraging NFTs. So let's say, for instance, I'm now doing quarterly or monthly, actually even financial reports, right? Showcasing the Google AdSense that I'm making, and also from the affiliates and everything. I'm showcasing that to my subscribers. And so then I'm telling them, hey, I'm going to issue out 1,000 NFTs, and you can partake in the profits that I'm making, right? And I'll divvy those up. Let's say I give you 10% of the profits I'm making. So now you, as a subscriber, are incentivized to buy the NFT because you then make money off of it, right? And you're incentivized to then scale my channel by like, sharing, and subscribing because then I scale faster, right? So it's a win-win for both. So these are the sort of the models that, I think people are looking at that could be introduced in the not so distant future. And I think, yeah, these sorts of things are going to be a lot more streamlined. It's going to be so these new business models. And also another advantage too is again, it said you have access to global liquidity because again, you don't have to worry about KYCing and all this kind of crap. You can be in Israel and buy my NFT. You can be in China and buy my NFT. You can be in Russia and buy my NFT. And I think this is what I think NFTs enables is that access to global liquidity that people may not have had before.
Absolutely. Yeah. And out of all the things that you're currently doing, you also have a podcast. Is that correct?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I'm a talker.
And through your episodes, do you have one that sticks out, like a real memorable one?
Yeah.
You're like, wow,
And
this
I have a
came off good. Could you share that with us?
dude. I honestly, I have a lot. I would say two. One that comes to mind is a two-part series that I did with Francesco from Money Delics. He currently living in El Salvador, and we spoke about Bitcoin adoption there. And I think it was super fascinating, especially for the audience. Um, because you got to see basically how far exactly the Bitcoin adoption is in real time because he's there in real time now. And you also got to see the sort of legalities and the things that they're implementing too as well and the financial infrastructure that they're trying to implement. And, we spoke about the fact that, majority of El Salvadorians don't have bank accounts. So this is a huge issue because say, for instance, you have to pay your bills, right? And you need to send money to a bank. You usually have to, if you're in El Salvador, had to drive, previously to the bank or ride your bicycle or whatever that means of transition that you had to get to then the bank and then pay and then drive all the way back home. And that wastes a few hours of your time. You're standing in line, you're waiting in line, and you're finally going to get to finally deposit the money. With Bitcoin, you can just send Bitcoin. You just fire up Bitcoin, open it up, and send it. So it's now saved them time that they can then use as an opportunity cost that it used to be. Now you can use that time to leverage it to make more money, right? And so this is one way in which Bitcoin is enabling the country too as well. And also there's an influx of capital that's coming in from people who want the 0% tax because Bitcoin's legal tender there, meaning that, businesses technically have to use it, right? And so that's also enabling the country because now they're hiring and empowering locals because there's more entrepreneurs there. And so the locals now who didn't have economic opportunity are getting more economic opportunity as a subsequent effect as well. So yeah, it was a very super interesting podcast and conversation to know everything you need to know the ins and outs of El Salvador. I encourage anyone that's listening to this to check it out for themselves and see if they like it, see if they enjoy it. I try to put it as high a quality of value as I possibly can in my podcast and I bring on guests from different verticals. I have a couple guests coming on too as well. One that's this cybersecurity specialist to talk about all the nuances of cybersecurity, malware, firewalls, scene tools, system event management tools, and Splunk, all these different types of things that people may not be prepared to, and how social engineering works, and how a lot of the hacks that happen is actually through social engineering. So, yeah, I think my podcast is just basically super informative to try to help people to spark that light bulb in whatever industry that they're in, but it's mainly catered to a focus on Web3 technology, investing in business.
Outstanding. So, yeah, well, on the El Salvador tip, I actually downloaded the wallet because I thought it was so fascinating. So, actually, on my phone, I have the Shivro wallet. Or I can't remember how to say it, but
Yeah.
yeah, you have to put
It was
in.
actually built by Algorand. Yeah, the wallet, the infrastructure they utilized was actually Algorand. But yeah, it's very, very good and easy process to streamline the process for Bitcoin transactions. And they use layer two Lightning nodes. Um, there is obviously counterparty risk involved because you're renting or leveraging someone else's node if you're not using your own Lightning node. But that's sort of the trade-offs that you kind of have with blockchain technology. I know it's trying to be more decentralized, but yeah, it's very nuanced. But yeah, I'm glad that you got familiarized with it.
Yeah, incredible. Well, this has been an absolutely fascinating conversation. So, can you give us your coordinates if somebody wants to follow you or listen to your podcast? Where should they go?
Yeah, so my podcast is available on almost every streaming platform except Apple. It's going to be happening soon. So it's on Spotify, it's on Castbox, it's on Samsung, it's on Amazon, on Google. And it's
And
called
it's
the
called the
Moon.
Mooncast.
Hmm. Yeah, and you can check it out there. You can also check me out too as well on LinkedIn. I'm most active there on LinkedIn, Vandross Idiake on LinkedIn. And yeah, that's where you can find me. That's where I hang out the most out of all the 2D metaverses. So check me out.
All right, Vandross, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure too, man. Thank you so much for having me on. Appreciate it.
Hope we can do this again sometime.
Absolutely, man.
All right, take care.